everybody. Ooh, standing room only back there. Nice. So if anybody was here last year, raise your hand. Okay, so last year I was on the main stage, third day. I wanted to move up in the world. I guess I just did. I climbed a few steps, but I did start that presentation off with, I was really happy that we were in the top 25 last year. We were number 11, and I said, maybe at the end of this discussion, you'll see why we should be moved up in the ranking a little bit. I did not expect to be ranked number one on the ranking. It might have a little bit to do with a revenue increase bump we had over the last few years. But we really have been focused on digital transformation for some time. So we've been on this journey since 2016. Started as a one-person team back then, coming up with a strategy. The ZF story this morning resonated with me so much because it's the same exact journey, the same exact lessons learned. And what's great about coming to these events is what Greg just said. It's the interactions with everybody here that really makes a difference for all of us. Okay, a little disclaimer. Anything I say here, can and will be used against me, so please don't do that. It's my own opinion, so on and so forth. My favorite slide always is the one that has my picture on it. That's the new picture, not the 12-year-old picture of me as a child when I presented here like back in 2003 or something. But just so you know who you're talking to, I lead what we call a digital manufacturing group at Pfizer. That group has only been in existence for a few years. I started about 16 and a half years ago supporting engineering, all things IT. I'm an IT guy. Boo, I know, everybody's OT. But we're really trying to blend these things together more and more as things converge. So the concept of the digital manufacturing group brought together all of the great ideas we were doing from a digital IT perspective, and then we slowly bled in and brought in all the foundational systems and things in the relationships with the OT partners that we have across Pfizer, which is pretty substantial. So our purpose, breakthroughs that change patients' lives. The last few years, it's always been a really important part of what we do, but it's really resonated for all of us just how connected we can be with patients when we all become one ourselves. In some of our previous therapies, maybe you think cancer or you think heart disease and things like that. As a younger person in the company, you weren't necessarily directly connected with that unless you had a family member who went through something like that, and ultimately we all do in some way. But with COVID, that changed for all of us. The idea of banding together, dropping all political nonsense and making things happen was a really big jumpstart for us in really pushing this digital transformation journey forward. We're doing fine, we're doing well, but then with this new galvanized thought process and need to go faster, everybody in manufacturing is like, what do you have? When can we get it? And it really helped us move faster. So our Pfizer Global Supply Network, about 30,000 people, currently 37. I think they added one this last week or something. They just closed the deal today. So maybe it's 38 now. 300 contract manufacturers or so, 50 billion doses of medicine. That's the one kicker, and 1.4 billion patients. I think that was 2021. That's pretty profound. You're touching 1 out of every 6 people on Earth with that average. Every dose has to be perfect, high quality, and a lot of what my team's job is to help make more of these doses more effectively of high quality. So where are we trying to head to? Where are we trying to get to next? So we've been on this journey for 6 years. It was maybe a year and a half ago, the president of manufacturing came up to us and said, we love what's going on. Everything you've been doing through the pandemic's great. How can we do more of that faster in more locations? Okay, so you have to take a look at what you've been doing. We have a huge swath of digital capabilities and engineering capabilities out there. Let's call it 100 or so core capabilities. How do you get those out there faster? Well, we've been anchored against this concept of the digital plant maturity model. This model is something that was built in biopharma by myself and a bunch of peers. We got together through a group called Bioform We collaborate on things in that group. The first thing we did in 2016, similar when our strategy was born, is we built this digital plant maturity model. Iteration 3 of it will be released later this year. Any manufacturer can go and download this model from Bioforum. It has hundreds and hundreds of processes. Yes, it's a life sciences model, but you can adapt it for your own purposes, like we adapted it a little bit. And it also comes with a measurement tool. So we go out there and review all the plants and the operations together with our OT partners. We did this together, IT and OT, and we said, what does good look like? That's what's defined in here. So if you're doing MES and automation capabilities, you know what a good paper-based process looks like. We had a lot of those back in 2016. We still have some here and there, like it's a journey. What does it look like in a silo? So we define that as if you get our core capability solution and you have a standalone MES, great, you've got the digital silo. If you start connecting it to a bunch of other things, you connect it to equipment, you stream data to Historian, you hook in a manufacturing intelligence platform, you're starting to get that connected plant feeling. And then if you move into the manufacturing intelligence stuff, that's where you can get into predictive capabilities. And ultimately where we want to get to for some processes is adaptive. Even though our average score will be a 4, it's not a one size fits all. Every single process has some kind of scoring on here. Not everything needs to be at the top. Basic processes can be in a silo, that's okay. So what we decided is, it's such a big endeavor, let's pick the top 10 plants that we want to focus on, the ones that generate the majority of the products and revenue. Let's look at these 100 solutions and then figure out how to get them into the hands of people more efficiently. So the thought of myself and my team maybe historically would have been, we have great solutions. We've been building them in technically digital silos within a process area, supporting a process. We've been pretty good at getting them out into the hands of people. However, the teams didn't always talk to each other. We might touch the same group at the plant 4 times in 2 years, which is inefficient for the plant, right? That's where the headquarters people come, like, we're here to help, and they go, oh, again? Thanks for coming out to help us. You're so useful. So we said, what if we work together with our engineering counterparts from both a global perspective and then from a site perspective? What if we analyzed all of the operational areas? So we have a production system. What if we looked at that production system, whether it's the floor, the lab space, the quality environment, and said, we understand where people work physically. They work with equipment. They work with systems today. We know what they have today. We know what good looks like. We know what a level 4 looks like. We can map A to B. What if we actually did that with purpose? So if we get together and we plan this out with purpose and we set very specific goals for that operational unit, we actually have built now a tracking capability where we can track after something goes live, whether or not we actually made a difference for that operation. This is the first time in my 26 plus years of doing this that's been the case, especially when I was a consultant. It was put stuff in and go to the next job. But now, being responsible, insert laughter there, that was a joke. But now being responsible for it, having this closed loop mechanism to actually measure that we're making a difference is important, because every time you do that, you build better adoption as well. So we're tracking usage, we're tracking adoption, and we're tracking key KPIs. Now I say we're doing all this, we've started this. We just got approval for this from the president of manufacturing for an investment a week or 2 ago. So we're just getting it in this mindset. All the planning is going on now to really jumpstart this stuff. So what does it look like? On the right-hand side of the page here, these are our value streams. So where my teams used to sit and maybe focus on an MES system here, this was my favorite. All on the same team. I have a manufacturing 4.0 team. MES plan, data historian plan, manufacturing intelligence plan. The 3 of them aren't going to the same plant at the same time for the same line and product. What a missed opportunity, right? So that's what we're trying to get to, is change our mindset first about how we go to the plant. Get them brought on board with resources as well. Nothing's free. What did we hear this morning? It's not fast and it's not cheap. I'm living that dream. It's not fast and it's not cheap, but we're trying to go faster at the most optimal cost point. So it breaks out into these value streams. This is almost the digital plant maturity model. We modified it a little bit. Manufacturing intelligence, we called out on its own. It actually works across a lot of the streams. And then new product launch is very specific to our current goals. So we have a publicly stated goal to launch 15 to 19 products in the next 18 months, which has never been done in our company before. It's always like 2 a year. So it's a tremendous influx of new product capability. Speed, adaptability, flexibility in the manufacturing and supply network is paramount to make that happen. It's almost too late though, if you think about it. Like, if that's happening now, we had to do this 5 years ago. So like, we'll be ready for the next set of those things to keep it going. But at the end of this, it's all about getting more data in context to do really cool things with analytics. Like, that's the real driver of the digital transformation, which will ultimately drive tremendous amount of value. So the 10 sites, 100 solutions, there are 675 unique operations where people work physically somewhere on something. I didn't put the investment on here, I'm not allowed to share that, but the value of that at the low end is projected to be about $760 million of additional value on top of what we normally do, because this is all a program, we're already doing this stuff, and now we're gonna do it faster. So that's the business case. This did not start this way 6 years ago. When we talk about funding, I used to tap dance in front of executive teams. I went to the executive team of manufacturing 4 times with the same PowerPoint deck in 12 months. Same deck, didn't change a slide. My boss is like, don't you have anything to show? Like, nope, just gonna make a couple jokes and try to get out of there alive, right? So they gave us enough responsibility and capability and a little bit of seed money to try things and experiment before they pulled the plug, right? So they gave us the opportunity. I always say this enlightened leadership allowed us to experiment and try to get down the path. Okay, 2 more slides. This is an example product flow for drug product in pharma manufacturing. I don't expect you to see it, but the idea being each one of the boxes on the screen is what I'm calling a transformation unit. So each of our capabilities could be deployed in a different way, right? So an ERP system is typically, the deployment unit is a plant, right? MES, you're in a manufacturing suite or on a line. Manufacturing intelligence, you're in a manufacturing suite on a line, maybe on a piece of equipment, maybe for a specific product. So the idea of what the deployment unit is for a capability differs. But what we're trying to show here is, with this map, we know where somebody stands today with the solutions and capabilities they have, what I was talking about before. We know what good looks like. We're using this as a discussion capability to show you, you're gonna go this unit from A to B over the course of 4 years or 2 touches, whatever it is, and we're all in this together and we're gonna make that transformation happen. But let's not forget that this is an end-to-end flow. If I make one operation more efficient without thinking about downstream, I'm just moving bottlenecks and issues somewhere else. Overarching all of this is a quality release process about every step of the way. You can't really see that on this picture, but it's over the whole thing. But the visualization is going to help us drive those discussions, and then we have the ability to flip it over and say, show me the throughput of that unit, show me the OEE, whatever it might be, and then zoom out to show the whole plant or the whole network. So that's we're calling it the dynamic transformation plan of record to kind of show the hundreds and thousands of things that are going on. So I'm going to preemptively answer a question that I usually get is, how big is my team? People ask me that all the time. 2016, it was 1 person, demonstrated value over time. We're up to 240 colleagues. I have a lot of openings. Any data scientists out there? 240 colleagues right now, 1,200 contractors. Last year, we did 1,600 deployments or more than that for 100 of those 100 different products. And I have 120 safe, agile teams. So safe and agile, that helped us transform into this machine of just being able to put this stuff out there. And now we're trying to harness that to be even better on the deployment side. So 1,600 is a lot. We're going to try to double that in the next year. So that's the story for now, and I'll answer questions in a bit.